Alright guys, big news just dropped from the Godwin bondholder meeting, and if you're invested or thinking about investing with Godwin, you need to hear this. I'm breaking down their latest plans, what it means for your money, and my honest take on how this investment is shaping up. Trust me, this could impact your portfolio in a big way. There's a lot to unpack here, so let's get into it. We invested in Godwin's GC8 for 24 months, maturing in March 2025 with confidence based on positive updates and partnerships with brands like Audi and Starbucks. Initially I rated it highly, however in September an unexpected email proposed a 12-month extension on bonds due to profit cycle issues. On the back of this shit news, I lowered my rating from 5 to 2 with a 6 times multiplier for 12. The bondholder meeting just wrapped up today where investors were required to vote on the proposed outcome. Godwin stated that if their proposal to extend repayment terms isn't passed, they'll seek independent advice on the solvency position of Godwin Capital No. 8. Not Godwin Capital or Godwin Developments, which would continue as business as usual, whatever the outcome is. In this scenario, it's highly likely that investors will recover a significantly lower return than their original investment. In the meeting, Andrew, Richard, Stephen and Stuart each took turns presenting their justifications for the 12-month extension proposal. Richard Johnson went over the professional advice, but his presentation was mostly a repeat of the information already shared by email. Stephen Pratt focused on residential projects, boasting Godwin's 100% track record in planning and mentioning the 2,245 units they have with a GDV of 530 million quid. Stuart Pratt then discussed commercial and industrial projects, highlighting 12 contracted development sites, 20 lease negotiations and 5 logistics projects. Andrew Mitchell confirmed that a quorum was met and the vote will take place. At the time of recording this video, the result of the vote is still unknown. I'll pin the outcome in the comments as soon as it's published, but given the threat of Godwin Capital No. 8 going bust, I wouldn't be surprised if investors accept the proposal. I voted in favour of the extension because I understand their reasoning and they keep pointing to the 30 profitable sites under their control. I just hope they can follow through with integrity and convert these into returns for investors. My rating remains unchanged at 2 with a 6 times multiplier for 12 on payout. I initially invested in Godwin's GC8 for its security, drawn by the projected 12% annual return. While this return is on the lower end of what I'd usually expect for this type of investment, the added protection of a debenture and oversight by Bluewater Capital as a trustee made it appealing. Early on, I rated this investment highly, confident it would deliver within the original 24-month term. As we all know, the situation has since changed. Leading up to the bondholder meeting, Godwin sent out an investor circular explaining why this situation is happening and outlining their plan for the 12-month extension to repay investors with both capital and interest. However, they didn't clarify how returns would be affected. They only stated that repayments to investors would resume at the end of the proposed extension, expected toward the end of 2025. A few days later, a follow-up email addressed some FAQs. One key question was, what will my maturity date be and will I accrue a third year's interest? Godwin confirmed that investors would earn a third year of interest at the current rate, maintaining the annualised return at 12%. And while this sounds promising, I'm concerned they might just be kicking the can down the road. If they can't afford to pay this level of interest now, it's reasonable to question whether they'll manage it in 12 months. When I raised this concern during the meeting, the Godwin board didn't respond directly. However, when addressing a similar question about avoiding the same position in the future, they reaffirmed that their forecasts have been verified by their advisors and they have sufficient resources to repay investors in the medium term. I admit it's a fair point. My score for return remains unchanged at 5 with a 10 times multiplier for 50. I was initially pissed off with the Godwin investment due to a lack of updates, but after escalating the issue with my introducer, I discovered I wasn't receiving emails because of an admin error. Since then, I've been receiving regular updates, but they remain general and don't specifically address my GC8 investment. I rated them 3 with a 2 times multiplier for 6 on update, as the communication has improved, but still lacks depth. More recently, it became apparent that Godwin Capital wasn't being fully transparent about the cash flow issues in GC8. With a repayment extension likely to upset many investors, this highlights the need for more detailed and specific updates to rebuild trust. Since this whole repayment extension situation began, there have been plenty of emails from Godwin and Bluewater explaining how it's expected to progress. We've received updates from Godwin about project completions and progress, but these don't mention the repayment extension at all, and this leaves me torn. On one hand, is it a bit tone deaf of Godwin? But on the other hand, is it reassuring to see things progressing? So it can only be a good thing, right? Godwin doesn't have a digital platform, which makes their investment process feel quite outdated compared to other investment providers like Acorn or Shojin. Investors receive a certificate, a proof of their investment, with updates mainly managed through advisors and account managers. With no dedicated client platform to clearly display information, everything is handled by email, which has become quite messy. We're now receiving emails from 4 different parties, including the company hosting the meeting, making it easy for information to be overlooked. My advisor only seems to have access to the same information as we do, so they're unable to provide any useful insights. If you're not staying on top of things, it can become quite confusing. This Godwin Capital investment was supposed to be fuss-free and straightforward, but it has turned out to be quite the opposite. Initially I gave a high score in my review, but I've since reduced it following their proposal and likely approval to extend repayments. My score could drop even further if returns decrease, timelines slip even more, or worse, if repayments ain't made at all. Currently, my score stands at a very tentative 72 out of 100. Godwin needs to do what they need to do to see investors right. So, whether you're an existing Godwin investor or looking to invest with them soon, I hope this information has provided some value. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll be posting another video once this investment matures with my final review, or if there's any interesting developments between now and then. For the latest reviews and project updates, head over to our website at pfcapital.co.uk, like, subscribe, and follow us on all socials to stay up to date with our investments with Godwin Capital and other similar platforms. But that's it for now. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.